everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jenny. I apologize for the light. It is challenging these days for me to find good daylight hours to film, so I'm just wanting to get this filming done, so I'm just going to do it even though the light is not ideal. I'm here today to share with you my 5-star predictions video for 2023. So I have done 2 sets of 5-star predictions now. I think I did my first ones in 2020. Is that true? It might have been 2021. I'm not sure. Yeah, whatever. That's not important. I wanted to switch up my 5-star predictions this year. Last year I did memoir, which was pretty successful. I got 5 more books off my TBR, and I genuinely love memoir. It's one of my favorite genres, so I thought I couldn't go wrong. And then I ended up not really giving, I think I only gave 1 of the 5 books 5 stars. The year before that, I just picked out some books that I thought I was going to love and didn't really think about the genre at all. This year, I was trying to look for gaps in my TBRs from the last couple of years, and one that came up for me was big books, so over 500 pages books. I haven't really been reading, I didn't really read any big books last year. I think the longest book I read was 475 pages or something like that. So I usually try each year to read at least one really large, really in-depth book. And so this year I decided to choose 3 books for my 5-star predictions that were over 500 pages. And these are books that have been on my TBR, some of them for a ridiculously long time. So I'll talk you through them now. The first one is fantasy. I don't think I read any fantasy last year either. So this is the Finnovar Tapestry by Gavriel. Gavriel is very prominent Canadian fantasy writer. I've only read one of his other books, A Song for Our Bon, and I read it a really long time ago. I read it before I had Goodreads. I read it before I had a channel. And I remember loving it. So I would say I read it in the early 2000s, and I loved it. So I've changed a lot. My reading tastes, who I am as a person, has changed a lot since that time. So I have no idea if I'm going to like this book. I bought this book when we were traveling at a secondhand store because I saw Gavriel's name and I knew that I loved A Song for Our Bon, and I just grabbed this one. So I have no idea if I'm still going to like this book that I've owned for, potentially 20 years now and still not read. So this is actually a bind up of 3 books. The first one is called The Summer Tree. I don't know what the second one's called. It was published in 1995. So I'm gonna read this. I think this is got some time travel in it. So it's modern day in the mid-90s. So not current modern day people who are transported to another world or back in time or something like that, and then they have to learn about the world and contend with the people, the things there. Obviously there's some dragons. So I'm really going into this with an open mind. I hope I love it. I hope I read the whole thing. Another interesting trend that's been going on in BookTube in the last little bit is I have to read this in 2023 or I am going to unhaul it. That is true for this book. I just feel like it's so large. It's been sitting on my shelf for so long. I have to read this this year. If I don't like it, I'm going to DNF it and I'm going to unhaul it. So that is what's happening with this big book. And this one clocks in. Obviously, it's 3 books put together. So if I was reading them as single published books, then it would be different. But this one comes in at 774 pages with the 3 books put together. And since it's the whole It's called the Finnovar Tapestry. Oh, sorry, The Summer Tree, The Wandering Fire, and The Darkest Road. I'm going to read them all together and consider it one big book. So that is number 1, 5-star prediction. Number 2 is The Parisian or Al-Barisi by Isabella Hammad, which is over 500 pages. This is a epic travel story, I believe, following a Palestinian man who travels through France. He goes to Montpellier, which is a place that I love from my time in France, and to Paris, and you follow his observations of the world. This is post-World War I, I believe, and leading up to World War II. So quite an interesting time period. Heard a lot about this book a few years ago. I believe it was also on the Booker long list. So it's, it's been on my TBR since then. It's an epic book of observations of kind of an outsider in another world. So really looking forward to that one. And then the third one I'm going to read is Hild by Nicola Griffith, which is is a middle-aged story, over 500 pages, based on the life of Saint Hilda of Whitby. I think 7th century, something like that. I was just looking, this book was actually published in 2013, and the second book, it's the beginning of a trilogy, which, I don't know. I don't really want to start series this year, but it seems that that's part of this big book experience for me, so I'm just going to go with it. I've been intrigued by it since it came out, and it looks like book 2 is coming out this year. So that sounds like a good time to start reading it to me. And obviously, I don't usually read series back to back to back. I usually space them out. So this is perfect. I'll get Hild read, and then if I love it, I will be able to read the second one really soon. I don't know if that means that Nicola Griffith writes books every 10 years. So I'm going to have to wait until 2033 to read the third one. I have no idea. But here we go down this journey. Let's see if I love it as much as some other people, some other booktubers that I like have. So those are my 3 5-star prediction big books for 2023. I'm really excited to get myself into some big book reading this year and see if these books, if I'm going to like them as much as I think I am. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back again soon with another video.